Join Lore Keeper Andy in a quest so grand. Exploring bit heroes, all the lore at hand. From dungeons deep to bosses tall, with Lore Keeper Andy. Hello heroes, and welcome back to the Lore Keeper series. We're picking up right where we left off, after finishing Bit Valley, heading into the snowy expanses of Wintermarsh, Tier 2 of Bit Heroes. If you missed last video, make sure you guys are checking out the Tier 1 Lore Keeper series video, where I go through everything in Bit Valley and how we dealt with the Grims, Dryad, and Lord Cerulean. Without further ado, let's jump right in to our second zone. Wintermarsh is icy, cold, and treacherous. Rivers cutting through the land, snowy mountains. Its western half being a glacier full of frozen isles, while the eastern half being split between a hazardous, gooey waste zone and a dark, hilly zone that we'll be exploring later on. Our first challenge, Pengey Ice Cap. Sounds cute, right? Well, don't be fooled. This frozen tundra is crawling with danger, and we're here to take down King Pengey. Along the way, I dealt with cold fog and the frozen forests. All around me is eerie, leafless trees with the fog rolling in. And here's our boy, King Pengey, who says, "Uko? Uko?" I couldn't help but wonder if this was some sort of penguin language that I didn't understand, but nevertheless, he got violent, so I had to fight back. I bested this challenge, and I moved on to McGobblestein Isle, which honestly, in today's environment, is a name that does not age well. Anyways, I am here to challenge King McGobblestein. I found him deep in his lair, where King McGobblestein said, "Gobble, where's my Argyle sweater at?" I had no idea. "Gobble?" But I fought on, with courage and honor, defeating King McGobblestein. After beating McGobblestein, I got my first mount, Scud the horse, someone to help bear the load of this arduous adventure with. This was my ticket to moving faster on my journey. It was finally time to put an end to the Pengey and McGobblestein alliance at Chillhaven. I noticed that these two flightless birds clearly had an alliance due to their lack of being able to fly. Classic penguins and turkeys. I came across their leadership, and Pengey said, "Puko puko!" And McGobblestein replied, "Yeah, what he said! Gobble gobble!" After disbanding their alliance with violence, it was now time for me to take on the first dungeon of Wintermarsh, known to the locals only as Yeti's Tundra. I set off towards Yeti's Tundra, and well, it was time for me to meet Yeti, the coolest boss in the Tundra, literally. He hit me with some ice-cold trash talk, saying,
"Hey, who's this icehole? You better chill out. This Yeti is cooler than frozen spaghetti."
I only hoped that his skill in battle was as spicy as his jokes. Nevertheless, after a tough battle, I fell the Yeti. Moving away from the snow, I now headed into the toxic wasteland. There was green goo everywhere. All sorts of toxic enemies and slime monsters to boot. The whole place reeked of danger. Literally. I kept making my way through and beyond this toxic wasteland and found myself at Sug Chamber, where I came across Sug the Slug. It seemed like he spent his whole life hanging out in the sewers. He was mad stinky, and it was time for me to interrupt this. However, he said, "You think you can wander around in my sewers? I Don't think so. After taking down Sug, I moved on to my next challenge, the noxious pipeline. This was clearly the source of all of this toxic waste and green goop. Oh, how it has plagued the lands of Wintermarsh. I defeated as many of these slimy enemies as possible and made my way to our second dungeon of Wintermarsh, known to the locals as Blubber's Gutter. If you didn't think things could get any grosser, Blubber's Gutter was disgusting. After felling countless slimy monsters, I came across Blubber, a green, bouncy mess of slop. Blubber took one look at me and said, "You look tasty. I think I just found my dinner." I shuddered in horror, thinking that this monster might eat me. But I pulled it together. With courage and honor, took out this baddie. Leaving all the slime behind, I wiped off my boots and trudged on. I headed down to the next flag, Shaman's Lair, where I was sent to defeat the Shaman gang. Even though I had ventured with an orc pal, Tubbo, it seems like his better equipped brethren, Brom and Archie, were still waiting to challenge us. Though they were no challenge for such a squad as mine, we felled them with ease. I asked Tubbo what was going on. Why were his orc brethren fighting us? And all he said was, "Tubbo, smash!" Shaman said, "You think you got what it takes to battle me? Try 3 of me." After leaving Shaman's lair, I headed to the orc tower to take out this threat of orcs once and for all. Bodies dropped one after another as we cleared the dungeon of all enemies. No Brom, Archie, nor Shaman could stand our force. I thought the orc threat was over, but we found out about one last place where these scum were hiding. Brom's hideout, where we would have to find and defeat Jumbo Brom. I was nervous. How big would this orc be? But I had to gather my courage and move forwards. We came across this towering figure who said, "Halt! Got a wise mouth here, eh? I've had enough of your attitude." The battle raged on, trading blows back and forth. He was a challenging adversary, but Jumbo Brom fell to my blade. Feeling accomplished, I knew we could take on the biggest challenge of the Wintermarsh. The locals called this place Gem's Cell, after its leader, Gem. I walked through the dungeon, and it is clear that he had these orcs under his control. Whoever this Gem was, he must have struck fear into all these orcs' hearts for them to follow him. I found Gem, a hulking figure of stone, who said,
"Ah, check out my pecs. Well, what about these delts? Alright then, welcome to the gun show."
I must have whooped him good, because after defeating Gem, he fell to one knee and was persuaded to join my team. He knew true strength when he saw it, and now I've got this rock-solid flexor on my side. To wrap up Wintermarsh, I faced the toughest challenge of all, Deathmarsh, a final gauntlet of all the enemies of Wintermarsh. Dungeon was teeming with blue flaming torches. Creepy vibes in this dungeon, putting me on edge. I defeated every risen enemy, once again, proving to them that I am the true bit hero here. After clearing this, I finally look back on Wintermarsh and say goodbye. However, looking forwards, my adventures are not over, as I will be venturing into Lake Haven. Fear the threats that we'll face there. Okay, guys. Well, that was pretty much all for Tier 2 of Bit Heroes, aka Wintermarsh. It was really cool to see some of the ties between like the flightless birds coming up with an alliance and all of the gooey, slimy green monsters in the toxic wasteland. You know, one piece of lore that I really think stands out as like true is when you clear is flag 6. It's called the Noxious Pipeline. So clearly there is some sort of pipeline in Wintermarsh that got busted open and must have leaked some toxic waste into the land, causing all of these, you know, radiated green slimy monsters to rise. I also love the alliance between the flightless birds, you know, all the penguins and the turkeys, you know, standing together, brothers, flightless brothers in arms. That's just hilarious. And then all the orc development too. We fought the magical orc, Shaman, who's a little bit smaller, and then the bigger orcs, Archie and Brahm, who are, you know, of course, it's kind of like the trinity between like a warrior, an archer, and a mage. You know, those three orcs we faced here. So pretty cool. So I think the lore is actually starting to develop a little bit where I can actually explain things like that, which I'm so excited for. So of course, more to come in future episodes, but love to see that develop out a little bit here in Tier 2. Of course, I've unlocked mounts as well as pets and accessories now. I've just got common ones, you know, nothing crazy, but love to see those unlocked for my hero as well here. And then if you notice where I'm standing in this video, sadly, we unlocked Fishing Island. I didn't want to include the Fishing Island lore in the Tier 2 series, so maybe Fishing Island will have its own lore episode down the road. So make sure you subscribe to my channel if you want to see that in the future. So between all of the new familiars that we see in Tier 2, there is a lot of new fusions that come unlocked. I will not be talking about any of the expedition or the invasion fusions that became available through Tier 2, because their lore is somewhat unrelated to the zones. But the ones that we did get, I'll list here really quickly. We got Professor Gak. That is a fusion between Professor Oak and Gak. Clearly, Professor Oak was experimenting too much, and his description says his appearance is a result of a botched test. We got Grengi, which is simply Pengey plus a jumbo serum. And honestly, he doesn't look that big, but according to his description here, you know, not light on his feet, but where's the need if you can sit on your enemies? So I love the cute little chubby penguin. Then we got Junior. It's literally just Gramps plus a mini serum, and it is just a smaller version of Gramps. Then we have Shramps, which actually a lot of players love Shramps, so I'm glad to see him becoming available. I actually will be using Shramps in the future on this account. But that is a combination between Gramps and Shrump. Next up we have Gemroid, which when I was writing this in my notes, you know, I kept getting autocorrected to Hemorrhoid, which is just, woof, you know, you hate to see that. But he's just Gem plus a jumbo serum, and yeah, he just won tickets to the gun show. So he's just literally Gem, but bigger. Then we have Pengs, just a combination between Pengey and Grims, one of the better DPS familiars down at Tier 2. And then last but not least is Yobo. We have another Robo Sprockets fusion, Yeti plus the Robo Sprockets here. And yeah, he's basically just a gold robot version of Yeti. Pretty cool, pretty cool. So at the end of the day, the fusions don't tell us too much about the lore. I do think that the Professor Gak might speak to something. You know, if Professor Oak was running experiments, you know, maybe he was part of like an expedition team to lay down the Noxious Pipeline through Wintermarsh, made this grand mistake and paid the price, you know, became gooified, I guess is the right word for it. But he had it does say result of a botched test. So I don't know if he was involved in creating the noxious goo, or perhaps creating the pipeline. Maybe he was the one. Honestly, here's a lore theory for you guys. Maybe he was the one who created the pipeline and was doing some testing with it, and it broke on him. maybe that same exact pipeline got laid in Wintermarsh and it broke on the land. That's my lore theory for Wintermarsh and the noxious goo. So yeah, that's pretty much all, guys. That's going to be a wrap for Wintermarsh, or the lore of Tier 2. We got ourselves a mount, all new familiars we faced, and all those new fusions ready for action. Now, you guys might have noticed for a couple of the voices, I used a voice modifier. If you guys want to use that same voice modifier that I use, I've actually got a coupon code. You can use Andy5. I'm leaving a referral link to the voice mod that I use in the description below. Please use my referral link. It does support the channel. Speaking of supporting the channel, I want to give a huge shout out to all of my current channel members, as well as my current stream boss, Jason Baker. Thank you so much for supporting on stream. That's going to be a wrap for Tier 2, guys. Stay tuned for Tier 3 when we dive into Lake Haven. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, take care, and good luck with your grind.